Hello and welcome to Conquering Mount Scrapmore with Brenda. I'm Brenda and today it's Free Pattern Friday. But we have a new kind of a pattern, but we're also going to show you a technique that you might find very useful when you're doing some of your blocks or when you're putting together quilts. But first I want to introduce you to the Quilting Nerd. Now her channel is going to be in the show notes below. I went looking around, poking around, trying to find her first name, but I couldn't find one, but that's okay. The Quilting Nerd is going to be there. Just tell her Brenda from Conquering Mount Scrapmore sent you, and we'll, it'll be a lot of fun. She's got some interesting things, and her voice in quilting is very much different. So it's kind of an interesting take on what she's doing. But now we also have a Facebook group. We're doing share, like, subscribe. Please share, like, and subscribe. Over half of you that are viewing this are not subscribed. There's also a little notification button. And in our Facebook group, we have voting for when our next virtual sew date is. Now, if you're not part of the Facebook group or you're anti-Facebook, that's fine. We will put in the show notes our next virtual sew date with the Zoom coordinates, so you can come join us. But you just don't have a choice as to what day. So that's part of being part of the Facebook group. And we're also using the room feature in their Facebook group as well. And a lot of people are having so much fun in that group all the time. It's wonderful. It's a wonderful way to build a community and get to know people around the world that are also quilters. So come on in. We've got some sewing to do on this elongated chevrons and show you a really cool trick called webbing. Okay, this is how you make an elongated chevron. Now, how I've laid out my pieces, I've gone from, I know you can't even see it all because it's too big. I've gone from black to purples to blues. You know, I've gone like black, 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 right? Well, that's not going to work either. Well, I might have to show you in a block. But anyways, this is how I would go about making blocks en masse. Is I would put as much fabric on a design board as I can, and then I would try and, organize it so that I can just sew it. So what we're going to do is we're going to start at the far end over here, and we're going to show you how I do webbing. Because when you're doing a block with this many pieces in it, webbing a block is a really good idea. So let's start by doing some simple webbing. And webbing is actually easier. I'll pick a stronger purple. Webbing is actually easier to do when you've got lots. So the black is on this side and the purple's on this side, right? So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna, oh, I gotta get my right foot on. Hang on. This is how I do a lot of blocks en masse. I line them up, big piles, and then just sew until I'm happy. Oh, and I lost my foot pedal to boot. Okay, so now, so that's the first one I'm going to do. We're just going to do the purple and the black. That's it. And then I'm going to make sure this extra little bit's off. I go to the next row where it is gray and black, and I fold the black over on top of the gray, just like you would reading a book, pages of a book. Alright? And then the last row has a red and a kind of a tealy green. So I put them beside each other, and this is kind of a batik green, so it doesn't really matter. So now when you're doing webbing, you can either have a leader ender project, or you can do another web block, right? So because my block is only 3 rows, I'm choosing to do another block because they're charity blocks, and this is what I do, is I make charity quilts, right? So well, I'm just going to quickly run through the next block. And some of the pieces might be pretty much the same, but that's okay. When they're all put into a quilt, now I just lay them out so that they kind of look the same as to the way they are on the board. Just, little bits at a time. And there. And I'm going to put a bright red in with this. I'll give you a different look. Oops, and it goes this way. So it's just, think of it like, okay, the second row flips to the on top of the first row. Okay, so now I've got 2 blocks here that I'm working on, right? Very simple, very straightforward. So now I take that first block and I go to my purple. Now the next color here is going to be blue. So I put in a blue. That's because this is row 3. Row 2, or no, column 3, row 2 is yellow. Right? It's some kind of yellow. It doesn't matter. I mean, whatever color you want to put them in, it's fine. And then column 3, row 3 is a black and white print. So there it is, and I put it on top. There. And it's just by doing this, I made, I don't know how many blocks, and it was just very, very quick. Now instead of starting another block, what I do is I just continue with where I'm at. So I put in a wild blue, you know, kind of a darker blue. So I think that would be cool. And make sure these are all 2.5 by 6.5 inch bricks. This is something I keep as a staple in my my sewing room. And I've got leftover jelly rolls. You can tell by the pinked edges, so I just put that in. You know, these are all just scrappy, happy little blocks. That's all. You know. And when I do, the only thing is, you know, this is how this happened. I ended up with way too many blacks and black and white prints, and I got to the point where I didn't know what to do with them. After a while, it's too late. Here, let's get something like this. Yeah, it's darker. So, and I had too many blacks, and I was in 2 shoe boxes of 6.5 inch strips. So I decided, hey, it's time to make something with my 6.5 by 2.5 inch strips, right? So, 1, 2, 3. There we go. Now I'm in column 4, row 1, which is a brown beige kind of thing. So I'm just going to put this down. And I try not to put 2 solids together, and I try not to put 2 florals, because the florals, after a while, they're not, they don't make a lot of sense, right? You know, because you don't see the definition between the squares. You don't have enough contrast. I guess is what I'm trying to say. Now, row 3, column 4 is a black, but not a white and black. It's a colorful black. And yes, I have a bunch of those blacks too. There we go. Well, you'll see this easier. You line them up any way you want, actually. And you'll see it when, you know, you've got a bunch of them lying out. You can lie them out just all random and not have any chevron effect at all. But this is how you would get a chevron effect, is that you lie them up a certain way, right? And, you know, you just go through. And I'm going to put a crazy black print, colorful black print up against my black and white. We're already on the, see, it doesn't take long, we're already on the 5th row, right? And just make sure that it lies out, and I'm going to put pinks in, because I can. It's not really a pink, but it's got lots of pink within the print. Anyways, the idea here is to keep thinning stuff out so I can keep cutting other stuff, right? So that's basically my goal. And when you're looking at the peaks, if you can't tell which is the right side and which is the wrong side, and you're within, you know, breathing range of it, don't worry about it. Yeah, there we go. And put another gold in. I try not to put the same print in, to a block, but that has happened. Okay, 1, 2, 3 here, and there. Now I'm going to put a crazy pink in. Now see, one side is darker than the other on this, so I put the light side up, sew it down. Now the beauty of webbing, once I finish doing all this webbing, it's all going to be in the same direction. You know, it's going to be very simple, very quick way of just sewing 2 blocks together. And I stay organized, and I can go to a sew date, and I can chat. I can have fun with my friends. We can hang out and do things, you know, and that's all. Like I say, I put lots of solids in. I put, you know, whatever I've got in there. You know, not too particular. And now we're already on the last block. Just lay this out, or the last column. No, yeah, the last column. So I'm just gonna put, now see, this side is a little muddy, but this side is very sharp, right? So, okay. There we go. And funky green can go in there. And you can throw anything at this too, right? And this looks, so the better, the scrappier and crazier it is, the better it looks. So I'm going to put in a paler blue, because when you start sewing them all together into a quilt, you get a chevron or an elongated diamond effect, depending on how you sew your blocks together. Because all we're doing is sewing the block together right now. We're not sewing the quilt top. Okay, so make sure this is all the right way. Here we go. And there's the bright side. Yeah, I actually was working on this on Christmas Day in the room, Facebook group room, with a bunch of other ladies, and we had such a good day. It was such great fun. And they kept asking me, what are you working on? And I told them, and they were like, oh, that's cool. And don't forget to put in things like stripes and polka dots. I always forget stripes, and I always forget plaids. I don't know why. I like plaids. What can I say? Ooh, let's put this one. This pretty pale little one. There we go. And so now the blocks are finished. Now, what you can do, because these blocks now are all in the right order, right? You can just do a bunch of them up to this point, because now all you have to do is do the other row, right? Now, what I do when I'm doing these, I'll just move this out of the way just a hair without having a bunch of fabric fall off. That would be good. Now, what I do is I line them up, and I try and sew them all the same way, right? Because you can see how different and eclectic they are. And I try and sew them all the same way, because then they all fit together perfectly. Now, once I get them started, I cut open the webbing so I can maneuver these a certain way. Now, that top row where the 2 blocks are at each end, I always sew down first, and I make sure that these are all sewn down the same way, right? And I want them nesting to the row below. Okay. Very, very quick way of doing blocks en masse. And that day I got done, I don't know how many blocks. I should have counted them. But, you know, the next thing you know, you've got like a whole stack of blocks you can make some beautiful charity quilts with. And because we're doing 2 at a time, let's get the other one done the same way. The 2 blocks at the end, right? Flip it over, start your row with your needle down, clip all that webbing, because now, well, you don't have to clip it if you don't want to. I just find it easier to maneuver if it's clipped, but that's me. And just in case my pieces are off a bit, you know, it's just a little easier for me. There. And you can do this with quilt blocks when you're doing a quilt too. So if you were going to a quilting retreat and you just wanted to sit and sew one thing, you could do a whole bunch of these and just leave this crossroads, or this where you're putting your rows together. You know, you could do lots very quickly. And they're all in the right order. And now they're all in the right order. You don't have to worry about, well, did I mess up the order, or did I, you know, do something. So now on the next one, they're like this. You flip this over and you sew with this side on top, because you want to make sure these seams all go down, right? And you get it started. You clip your webbing. I love these little Teflon scissors. They are so tough. They take a beating and keep on ticking. And they're a good price. And it's the Fiskars Teflon. So, if anybody's looking for scissors. There. And this seam flips under, and this one flips down. There. So, there. Okay, just like this, flip it down, or flip it across. Nice. Okay. And here, nest. And nest. Yeah. Well, the hardest thing in this block to do now is to make sure that under, when you're sewing on that second line, is to make sure that that is flipped the right direction. But I mean, that's not hard to do. Okay, and now we are at our ta-da moment for 2 blocks in just under 17 minutes. Okay, so here's our 2 blocks. Now, when you're sewing these together, you could sew them together like this, or you can sew them together like this, and you get an elongated diamond effect, right? So this is going to be, you know, a pretty interesting block. Now this is 12.5 by 18.5 unfinished, so you know that block is going to be fairly good size, right? Now this is how I line up all my fabrics when I'm going to sit and sew on bulk, right? Because, you know, then I just basically what I want to do is make room in a shoebox. That's it. So I can keep sewing on this and keep chiseling away at my 6.5 by 2.5 inch bricks, and you know, eventually they'll all fit into a shoebox, I'm hoping. So do you want to see the number of blocks I created that one sew day? Now this is just out of one sew day. You know, I've got a lot here now for, you know, some fun blocks for, you know, some charity quilts. So, and it didn't take long. I wasn't there for like hours upon hours. I wasn't there for 12 hours. I was only there for like, you know, maybe 5. And I got through, I don't know how many of these. So this is a fun block, and it comes together quickly. You can make some beautiful, beautiful quilts with it. And like I say, you pretty eclectic as to what you can choose for fabrics or colors or whatever. It'll work. It'll look great. So I hope you have an awesome week ahead. And I hope you come back next for the Free Pattern Friday, or for our Monday and Thursday drops, okay? Like I say, share, like, subscribe. Hit that notification button so you get the little bell that tells you when we drop something. Okay, you guys take care. Bye! My husband and I would love to thank you for coming along with us on our quilting journey and the YouTube adventure that we're on. We have some wonderful plans for 2023, and it includes a lot more, like with the Facebook group and the rooms feature and sewing and hanging out with people. Those monthly Zoom sew dates are still in the works. We have a lot of fun ideas coming up for 2023, and we hope you share, like, and subscribe with your friends. That little notification button and subscribing to us really helps us out. Commenting helps us out too. So if you like what you're seeing, let us know. Even send us a heart on the comment. That helps so much for us. Okay, you have an absolutely fabulous 2023, and all of our best wishes for you in the future. Okay, take care. Bye.